Alright everyone, we start off today with the Vegetarian Menace. Now, qualification, many of you are probably vegetarians. I like many vegetarian dishes. The Beyondmeat thing and meat substitutes in general I think are cringe. It's an example of one of the great corporate con jobs of literally all time at this point. Marketing textured soy products that aren't really healthy for you to eat and are full of chemicals. They're heavily processed as though they're environmentally friendly. Better for you. It's no harm to the environment. Yeah, it's wrapped in plastic. It's filled with preservatives, but just fucking eat it. Don't make your own veggie burgers at home. Buy our textured soy products. If you're lucky, they're made with like lentils or mushrooms or something. The COO, I think that makes him third in line in the company. I think it goes CEO, CFO, COO, if I remember correctly. A lot of corporate acronyms. Corporations are very convoluted things. And they're people, my friend. People with multiple personality disorders. Their COO went nuts at a traffic jam or something. He had an altercation with another driver. And then he bit the dude in the nose, thus eating meat. Which is a great example for someone that's part of a company that makes meatless, meat-like products. Also, I have noticed that every vegetarian product that's been marketed majorly in the last half decade or so is designed to look, feel, and taste as much like meat as possible. If you're going to be a vegetarian, why don't you give up the grift and just make something herby and savory? Like, I can make vegetarian burgers. Liz has a recipe for them. Her veggie burgers are based mainly on like black beans and textured beet, and they're really, really good. The best ones have a lot of carrot and are chickpea based, I think, because they fry up really well. So if you want something savory, just do that. It's cheaper than buying their overpriced crap. I just thought this was funny because now I'm getting visions in my head of Dougramsey, it's the COO that got arrested for, I think it was aggravated battery and making terroristic threats. He's trying to eat the man's face, Hannibal Lecter style. I'm thinking now we've got a problem because now that he's had a taste of human flesh, he might become a man-eater. And so he'll disappear from the police radar prior to trial, and you'll get sightings of him in the area looking more and more crazy and disheveled for years to come. He'll slowly devolve into Golem, and he'll become more and more animalistic and start hunting people for their food. And the police will realize, well, shit, at this point we're not even dealing with a rational man. They'll have to call up the local zoo and have like tranquilizer guns taken out, and they'll have to capture him and put him on display. Beyond the hyperbole, I just wanted to rant about this and how funny it is briefly. I know it has nothing to do with politics, it has nothing to do with the upcoming midterms. By the way, polling awfully sporadic for getting this close to the actual election. I'm hoping that this improves. Watching someone who's vegan, I guess, or vegetarian, he's running this company, or has a major role in one of the big meat-free meat companies, cannibalize part of another person's face because, I don't know, maybe he was on coke or something like that, is just absolutely astonishingly one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. Again, I just can't get the image out of my head of him reverting to becoming an obligate carnivore or something like that because of this, and he completely wrecks his life and just goes on a downward spiral, and pretty soon he's got the steak channel on TikTok or something. But he has been converted. He has tasted of flesh and blood from the human nose. I don't know, maybe that part of the body is tasty, maybe it's not. But I just really wanted to talk about the company and the corporate branding, the grift associated with this. This is just the funny aside that segues into a much funnier situation. When I go to the store, the Netherlands, to be clear, has an awful lot of the Beyond Meat kind of thing. Far more than in the United States. Like if you go to Burlington, which is Hippieville in Vermont, certainly if you went to like New York City, I'm sure you can find all of these products too. You can find fake chicken nuggets, fake steaks, fake hamburger, fake hot dog, fake sausage, etc., etc., etc. Some of them are better than others. And soy definitely, as far as the texturing goes and potentially the flavoring, is the most meat-like. It's also the least healthy of the alternatives, and it's a goddamn giant grift. I think they realize, hey, we produce massive soybean over-harvests year after year in many parts of the world. It is good for soil restoration, and we can only ferment so much soy sauce. So they're doing with soy what they did with corn for many years. They turn it into corn syrup or other binding agents, and they pump it into food. For instance, corn-related binders got Taco Bell sued years ago. Their all-beef taco filling was found to be only minutely actual meat. A very large proportion of it was corn-based. You have an enormous supply from the United States in that case, and soy comes from the U.S. and other countries as well. You have an enormous amount of material. You can't use it all. You can't perpetually pay farmers to leave those acreages completely empty just to pump up the product when you can turn it into something else and brand it. Bottled water is a great example of a corporate con job. You can take a bottle, a reusable glass bottle, and fill it from your tap for less than a tenth of the price and carry that around. For some reason, people have gotten used to simply paying far more than the water is worth simply because supposedly it tastes better. And if you're in Flint, Michigan, I suppose that makes sense. In most parts of the country, it's not really a problem. I find bottled water to have a bizarre, off-putting flavor to it, generally speaking. I'm not exactly sure. Probably because it's fermenting in a plastic bottle for months at a time before anyone buys it. But meat products, meatless, meat-like products are a huge corporate con. Through careful branding, they've gotten people to start ingesting things that have to have vitamins and minerals re-added to them chemically in order to be particularly nutritive. That are heavily processed, massively overpriced. You're taking a cheap product that you can grow an almost limitless amount of. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort to grow soybeans compared to some crops, and you texture it. In some cases, you add effectively what would be meat-derived proteins from it to it, and then you make it look vaguely like meat. I've tried some of these products. I think I've tried most of them. To be clear, I'm not a fan of eating soy, unless it's soy sauce, because the fermentation process destroys the chemicals in it that are bad for you. And that's used all over the world for a very, very long time. It's not a new invention. One thing I would say is that the fixation with making it like meat just shows that human beings are geared towards consuming meat. Human beings are omnivores. And people who are vegan and vegetarian often don't understand this. Now, vegetarianism can be healthy. You're still eating animal products, dairy, eggs, and so forth. So pescatarians, they'll still eat fish because they have the mythology that fish don't have feelings. Veganism is an aberrance biologically, I'll say that. And you keep getting cases like this where someone just gets hangry because they're not allowed to eat the steak. They haven't had a burger in 3 years, and so they decide to cannibalize another person. Many such cases, well, not really that many, but it does seem to happen at an elevated rate. I just wanted to go on a rant about that. I would say that there are some of these products that are tasty, but after trying them, number one, they're not as good as meat. Number two, they're overpriced. Number three, I'm just trying them out for shits and giggles, and I know that it's not good for me. It would probably be better for you to eat the goddamn processed meat. It'd probably be better for you to eat the chili dog than to eat the Beyondmeat veggie burger or something like that. Again, there are alternatives that you can make at home. They are not expensive. Chickpeas are cheap. Beets are relatively inexpensive. Carrots are not exactly a cash crop. And you can make it yourself. You can make huge batches for the whole neighborhood. And they'll be tastier and fresher. And they won't fuck up your pheromones. They won't fuck up your chemical processes with soy. That's about all. Peace out.